Computer Mouse Maze Competition. Why does it burn the brains of the contestants? The rules of the competition are actually very simple. Whoever's computer mouse reaches the maze's finish line first will win the championship. The computer mouse we're talking about here is a small intelligent robot controlled by a microprocessor. It's a vehicle. It has to explore the entire maze automatically. And it must also know its own position at all times. It needs to accurately acquire and record the maze's information. Finally, it relies on algorithms to find the best route. The maze's final layout is only announced before each competition begins, and the program code cannot be changed afterward. Each contestant can run a preliminary test 5 times, with a time limit of 10 minutes. This is to allow the algorithm to, because the maze's finish line, in the early days, was basically located at the edge of the map. Therefore, the contestants at that time would choose to walk along the wall, so they could reach their destination quickly. To increase the gameplay and the difficulty of the competition, the maze's finish line was moved to the middle, with walls blocking all 3 sides. But this didn't deter the clever contestants. They developed a depth-first search algorithm. The computer mouse would remember each fork in the road. Whenever it encountered a dead end while moving forward, it would return to the previous fork. It would constantly try new routes like this, and eventually find the maze's finish line. But this search method has a drawback, because it only turns around when it hits a wall. The route it finds might not be the fastest way to reach the finish line. Later, the contestants developed a breadth-first search algorithm. When it passes the first fork, the system will automatically mark the location information. When it passes the second fork, the computer mouse will turn around and go back and take the first fork's path. This will continue to loop until it reaches the finish line. Although this can find the fastest route to the finish line, the maze has 256 cells, and it will waste a lot of time exploring. Maybe they won't even be able to finish the preliminary test, let alone win the championship. Later, a clever contestant invented the flood-fill search algorithm. The core of this algorithm is to first mark the maze with the distance from each block to the finish line. When exploring, the computer mouse will move forward from large to small, following the numbers. Whenever it encounters a wall, it will remember the corresponding number on the map. By updating the calculation, it will eventually find the finish line. This process is similar to flooding the maze with water. Once the water is filled, it will mark the location. In this way, as long as it can reach the finish line, it can straighten out all the routes it came from. It can also return in reverse. The shortest route doesn't mean it can reach the finish line at the fastest speed. For example, this track. This is the shortest path to the finish line, and the contestants will all choose this route. But this is the path the comic contestant chose. It's 5.5 meters longer. His machine's algorithm is different from others. We call it the fastest first search algorithm. Although this route is farther from the finish line, it has fewer turns, and it uses angled turns instead of right-angled turns. It reduces the machine's unnecessary movements. The average moving speed is also improved. Even if it needs to travel a longer distance, it's still faster than the shorter route. This seemingly simple maze competition contains an endless amount of knowledge. At least it combines microelectronics, computers, software, communication, hardware, and electronic engineering, among other cutting-edge technologies. Its complexity is beyond everyone's imagination.